Hi everyone, thanks for coming. My name is Jordan Hesterman and I'm from Becoming We the People, and we are sponsoring this event with the Social Justice Council here at the First Unitarian Church of Chicago. CAN TV is filming and airing the discussion, so if you ask any questions at the end, you'll get to be on TV. And we thank them for coming. They've been awesome at helping us out with these panel discussions and airing them. We did a whole series last year, and this is the first of a series this year. So stay tuned. Our next one should be around March. So you have information on your programs and where you can check the website for information on that. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the panel, and then we'll get started. All right, down here on the end is Dan Bassill. Dan has led volunteer-based non-school tutor mentor programs serving inner-city children and youth for more than 36 years. Over the past 18 years, he has helped create an internet-based information organization that is highly visible in the Chicago area and is gaining growing visibility around the world. And if you haven't checked out his website, the tutormentorexchange.net, I'm giving him a plug. It's absolutely fantastic. He has these excellent maps of mentoring programs and where they're located in the city, in the Chicagoland area, and how you can find it, where the needs are. And I know he's going to talk a lot about that, but I just wanted to give him a plug because he does some really great work. And next to him is Kelly Fair, and she's from Polished Pebbles. And I don't know her personally yet, but I'm sure that she'll have excellent things to say for you. She is a graduate of Howard University and holds a master's degree from the University of Iowa, and she's an active member of the Chicago community. She serves on the Advocacy Council of Women Employed, Incorporated, and she previously was on the board of directors for Christ Universal Temple. She was a manager at McGraw-Hill, and she implemented 2 campaigns there for innovative literacy programs. She also served as a program manager and curriculum designer for Project Achieve College Prep program. And in 2009, she started Polished Pebbles, a girls mentoring program. And Polished Pebbles has served approximately 200 girls ages 7 to 17 over the Chicagoland area, and they have had over 100 volunteer mentors throughout the program. And over here on my left is Laura Matthews. And she's from the Hyde Park Transitional Housing Project. She is currently serving as the case manager for this project, and she graduated from Chicago State University with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. She retired after 32 years with the state of Illinois and worked at the last 25 years in various areas of adoption. Next to her is Janet Marcus, and she's also from the Hyde Park Transitional Project. And she has been a school psychologist for 19 years. She did that in Pennsylvania, and then afterward in a suburban schools district here. She received a PhD in the Educational Psychology program at the University of Chicago. She was raised by a single mother, and she worked very hard to become professional, and she wanted to be in a position that she could give back to others. She has been mentoring a teenager for almost 5 years and mentoring a family at the Transitional Project since April of 2011. She's also the recruiter on the board there since June of 2011. And down at the end, last but not least, is Monique Cook-Bey. She's with the Chicago Youth Programs. She currently serves as the Chief Program Officer of Chicago Youth Programs. She holds a bachelor's degree in African American Studies and a master's of Science in Education. Her work at CYP here near here in Washington Park includes spearheading girls' mentoring programs, retaining and recruitment of volunteers, and community engagement. So to start this discussion, I'm going to turn this over to Dan and Kelly because they were just in Washington, D.C. for a national mentoring conference, and they want to tell you a little bit about that because this is January is National Mentoring Month. So they want to give you a little bit of an overview, and then we'll start with our questions, and then at the end we'll have questions for you guys. I ask that you wait until the question and answer session to ask your questions, but if it's absolutely positively pressing, you can't wait, raise your hand and I might call on you. So but there'll be plenty of time for questions. And usually the panelists will stay a few minutes after as well if you have more questions. So I'm going to turn this over to Dan and Kelly.
Well, first, Jordan, thank you for organizing this panel again. I've been honored to be here a few times, and it's really great. Thank you to the church for making the space available and for allowing us to try to communicate our message through the congregation. This is National Mentoring Month. Last week in Washington, D.C. was the second annual National Mentoring Summit. So we want to take just a couple of minutes to provide a little bit of reflection to try to point people to what this is all about. In Washington, there were about 450 people, anywhere from senators to business leaders to faith leaders and partnership leaders from all over the country. These are people who are trying to promote effective mentoring in more places. And this is, my own reflection on this is that we not only need something that draws attention to mentoring and tutoring and provides the resources in January, we need this throughout the year. On the Tutor Mentor Connection websites, I've started a list of some of the organizations that I met, some of the resources that I found that were valuable. And I've been asked Kelly to talk a little bit about what she felt about the summit, maybe some of the resources she thought were valuable that she could share with everybody.
Yeah. I think it's a good experience. Last year was my first time attending the National Mentoring Summit, but I'll just be honest, I'd never really heard of it. It just really wasn't even aware that January was in fact the National Mentoring Month. And for me, I started my Girls Mentoring Program in 2009, transitioning from corporate America. I've been involved in education, but I wanted to get back to direct service. And when I had this idea, I didn't really know what to do, where to go, how to get guidance, how to structure it. And one of the first people I had a conversation with is I started doing some research, and I looked up Dan, and he was nice enough to allow me to come and take some time and talk to me, to give me some guidance and some thoughts on where to go. I think the National Mentoring Conference was excellent because I hadn't really thought of mentoring as an industry. But it puts you in that mindset that this is in fact an industry. There are best practices. There is research that supports our work. It gives you a source to go to have networking, meet colleagues who are doing some powerful things in different markets. And so it's a good learning and educational opportunity. And I think that was key. And as I'm doing the work that I'm doing, I still have so many people coming to me saying, I want to start, I want to do a program. What do I do? Can we go to coffee? Can we get lunch? And when you really get involved with this work, you don't have as much time to do those things. So promoting National Mentoring Month, promoting the National Mentoring Summit, I think is really key and important. A couple things that was sitting in my head is there were a lot of sessions that were giving us support on how to develop corporate partnerships. Not just asking for the check, but asking corporations to partner with us to provide mentoring initiatives so we can get mentors, giving us some guidance on how to walk that walk. What's the fine line? When can you ask for the check? When can you not? How do you build those relationships so that they trust you? Even to the degree of providing corporations mentors in a box. You know, so if it's a mid-sized corporation, doesn't necessarily have the resources to bring people in to really manage it, they're working on finding different ways to really enhance and increase the number of businesses, the private sector, because public sector funding can, is having its challenges to enhance and increase and engage more private businesses to get involved. The other thing I think I walked away with is, and Dan and I were just talking about this, is the importance of relationships. Of course, they're talking to us about, enhancing corporate partnerships, how do you develop those relationships, partnering with other community-based organizations to enhance your programming. But one of the things we think, and maybe perhaps we can encourage there to be more sessions about next time, are the relationships within mentoring programs and our mentors. They're millennials, they're the mid-age, and there's different interests there, and there's different skill sets. And how do we, as the leaders of mentoring organizations, know how to tap in and use the resources that those different groups bring and make sure that they value each other as a whole in creating mentoring communities. So those were some of the takeaways. experience I had from the conference.
So Kelly is one of many people that have come to me over the years where I've been willing to share what I've learned because I've been involved as long as I have, and therefore not only do I know from my own experiences, but I've learned from a lot of other people that I've come into contact with over the years. With the internet, we've aggregated a lot of this information, and so while I could give you a few tips here, a few tips there, if I could lead you to the internet, then not only can you learn from what I know and other people know, you can share that knowledge with other people. There were just a couple of resources that I felt were really stood out. One is that the Virginia Mentoring Partnership has helped a faith-based initiative grow in Richmond that has churches from over every denomination. We've got over 100 different faith institutions working together to support mentoring throughout the Richmond area. And there's a link to the website that they do. It's something we in Chicago, with so many faith groups that could be working together to support mentoring, it would be something you could take away. The other thing is the Michigan Mentoring Partnership has built a toolkit for recruiting men to be volunteers in programs. And the toolkit is based on business advertising and marketing, and just a whole load of resources that anyone, you don't have to be in Michigan, could go onto their website and learn from these materials and apply it to what you do to try to get more men involved, which for many programs, that's always a challenge. So Mentoring Month has a lot to offer. There's a lot of ideas and resources. We were glad to be there. And hopefully throughout the year, we can help make mentoring more important to more people in the Chicago area.
Great. I'm going to steal that back. Okay, so we're going to go right into the questions. First question is, why do you think mentoring is important? What are the benefits, not only to those being mentored, but to the mentor as well? So, I know Dan just spoke, but I am going to turn it over to him first.
Why is this important? What I've learned over the years, what a mentoring program can do is put extra adults and extra learning and enrichment in the lives of kids who maybe need some extra adults in their life. If the program is able to keep those connections going for many years, then the relationships that build out of that can be just like the relationships of people helping people, which is really, it's who you know in your life, not just what you know. I think the volunteers that get involved with these programs learn from the young people, they learn from each other. So mentoring not only is something that has a transformative effect on young people, it has a transformative effect on the adults who get involved as well. But it takes a support system to make that happen. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the lives that I'm still connected to the young boy that I first met in 1973. The young woman sitting over there in the red sweater was a volunteer in our program, I won't say how many years ago, but she's here tonight because we're still connected. So mentoring can build long-term relationships if we can keep the core of a program in place in a neighborhood for many, many years.
Okay. All right, Kelly.
Okay. When people ask me why mentor, why did I start my program, I have to just go straight to my personal experience. I know mentoring works because I've been mentored. For some strange reason, I didn't want to go to summer school when I was 13. I didn't really do the whole summer camp thing. That wasn't my scene. I felt like I needed to have a job. So my mother thought I was weird as all get out, but she helped me find a job, and at that time I was interested in doing hair. And so Dudley's Beauty College on 95th Street in Chicago at that time, Betty Clausen allowed me to come in. I didn't get paid anything, but I just felt so proud to have my uniform. I had my little white skirt and my blue top, but I was in the mix. And I had the opportunity to not only be mentored by Betty Clausen, but all the employees there, the students. So throughout high school and throughout college, I had the opportunity I always worked and I had strong female supervisors who always mentored me. Those hard lessons like you shouldn't have wore those pants, you should have worn polyester. keep a pair of polyester pants in your trunk. I mean, those are things that you don't learn in school. Those are things that sometimes families and mom can say it until she's blue in the face, but it means nothing. But I remember being involved in a mentoring program. I don't remember who the lady was, but she taught us when we wear skirts, you have to sit down and smooth it out. That's something that I've learned, it's something that I carry through, and it's something that I still teach my young people today. So I did not see myself as a leader, and I definitely did not see myself as a confident young woman, even though I had good grades as a younger person. But my mentors, through summer jobs and through internships or doing service after school, always kind of implemented and really helped me develop. And even into my career, the beginning of my career, I had mentors who helped develop me. So why mentor? Because I'm a product of mentoring.
Right, I'm going to turn this over to Laura and Jan.
I think mentoring is important. People need to give back. They need to give back to the community. They need to give back the experience and whatever they've gotten in life as an adult. Now, our program is a little different because we mentor adults. But it's the responsibility of the mentor to be available to their clients, to be available to the people that they're talking to
Well, I'm a mentor and do the Hyde Park Transitional Housing Project, and Laura is our case manager, so we talk a lot and meet a lot. I have to say she's a great case manager. She's taught me a lot. I like mentoring because I feel like Kelly, a lot of people help me. Growing up in a single parent family, we lived in pink collar poverty, and my teachers helped me a lot. I was a good student, but without their help, I would never have envisioned myself going to elite university. And then also, I went to a private liberal arts college. I had a full scholarship. But you meet a lot of people who don't come from the same backgrounds. I met a lot of people that didn't come from my background. And it made me very angry, I have to say, I'll be honest. And then I don't meet a lot of people who got PhDs from the University of Chicago who come from poverty, at least at my age. And I think I have a perspective on life and to give young people who are less fortunate than my children have been. And to guide them and to understand perhaps where they're coming from, if they're hard workers or if their life is very hard. So I get a lot from that. But I also have to say that I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. And I think that's an important aspect to retain mentors, is that the relationships have to be meaningful but also enjoyable. So the mentoring a young adult who's the same age as my children, I think it's important to be upfront and develop that relationship. Saying, you're as old as my children are, but in many ways, the person that we're mentoring is more challenged than my children have been because of all the obstacles to success and to employment. The obstacles they don't have this young woman doesn't have a supportive family, so she has a long way to go, but she will make it. And I can offer that perspective to her. That in your 20s, you think your life is, you gotta get there. You gotta get there. And you forget that you are living your life as in the here and now. So I can give her that perspective that even though it's hard right now, she will get there. So it's very rewarding to have that relationship. But, so that's why I mentor, and that's why I think other people should mentor too. Okay.
I'm sure over to Monique. Can you pass the
Well, my story also is a little personal because I am a living witness to mentoring, being involved in mentoring. And I'll just give you a little brief part of my story. I definitely grew up in a single family home, raised by my mom and my grandmother. And so my grandmother used to work for the zoo before they got privatized. And I remember that because we used to be so proud of her when we go to the zoo. Like, oh, we get to go behind the scenes. And so when she left the zoo, they moved her to one of the park districts. And so it was just little Methodist students who were walking around and they were recruiting kids from this park district. And, you know, nobody in my family had went away to college, barely graduated high school. And so she was like, my grandkids need to get in this. And so we got involved in that mentoring program. Not only did they expose us to different things outside of what we were used to seeing, but they partnered us with professionals and different people who had achieved success and who constantly embedded in us. You can get it, you can have it. Don't worry, that's okay that, you know, your mom has a certain amount of income or you have a certain amount of education. Guess what? You can attain this education. You can go to this, you know, Ivy League school. And so it got embedded in me over and over. And that's all I knew. I didn't know about, well, I need to get this job so I can get the latest cell phone or the latest whatever, Gucci or whatever they have out there. I just knew that I had to graduate from high school. After high school, I'm going to college. Yeah, I'm going to have to work 2 jobs when I go to college. No, you're not getting a car, get a bus card. And, you know, I knew hard work and dedication, and I had people pushing me, and these were people who mentored me. And then they also mentored my family. So when you said that about, you know, you were mentoring adults, because some of the parents don't know. They're afraid, they don't have the exposure, they don't have access, so they're like, I can't afford to send my child to college, I don't have any money, I'm not taking out any loans. And so for me, it's a little personal because I was the first person in my family to graduate from college successfully, go on to graduate school, and then come back to the organization and become a program director, and then move on to become the chief programming coordinator of this organization, all because it started with a group of people who were set up by Chicago Youth Programs who mentored me. So for me, it's personal because I know it works. I know you have people making that investment, and it doesn't take 24 hours. It takes 1 hour a week sometimes. It takes 2. It depends on the person. It depends on what type of investment you want to make. And I think once we get to some other questions, that needs to be made clear. When we're forming these partnerships, I think some of the mistakes we make in the nonprofit industries, we try to get all these people in, and they're passionate, and they want to do this, but you need to be clear. What is it that you're passionate about? What do you want to do? How do you want to be involved? How do you want to engage these kids? And then place them, because they'll keep that relationship. I still have contact with our founder of the organization, and he's at our office daily. You know, he's checking in, he's delivering people's babies, you know, everything. And it's this long-term investment that he made with just something start off as I want to help people. So for me, mentoring is important because the little girls grow up to be women and they become chief programming officers, and they go back to the program and they give back to the program they gave to them.